Okay, I want to say thank you, Doug, for joining us today.
It's my pleasure.
For this interview about the Maxi Saver. Got some questions I'd like to ask you here.
Absolutely.
First thing is, what made you want to work at the Maxi Saver?
Honestly, to recall, it's kind of funny because the story was not so much looking for that particular course in the job field. It was more or less the job that I was working at prior to. I just couldn't stand it, so
Right.
I went where a friend was working, and I ended up at the Maxi Saver.
Okay. Now, is it true that you actually started as a janitor and really worked your way up?
Yes, that is quite true.
Okay, how did that experience go from janitor to, I believe it was assistant manager, correct?
That is correct.
Cool. Tell us about it.
It was a unique journey, to say the least. Got to meet a lot of great people along the way. Starting out working, cleaning up the messes, and just kind of the isolation, because when you're a janitor, you're not really around the public too much. You're more along the lines of you have to be kind of self-motivated.
Yeah.
And just kind of keep your nose to the grind and just trying to make sure everything was nice for everything. And as I progressed along, then you went from being the person doing the cleaning to directing the cleaning. And
Right.
sometimes back to doing the cleaning. It depended on what the situation was. But it was a journey, and I think it was well worth it.
Okay. It's gonna be a little different for you here, but after you got the phone call here for the interview, what was an interview like? If it was the Maxi or the one before?
You mean like what was it like to get the interview for the Maxi?
Yeah.
Kind of really wasn't an interview so per se, because I kind of knew the manager at that time.
Right.
And I had worked at a previous theater prior to that, and she kind of just hired me.
Okay.
I didn't really do the like official interview. She just kind of told me this is what your schedule's going to be.
Yeah.
And go from there.
Okay. And how'd that make you feel that you just pretty much transferred over kind of thing?
It made me feel kind of wanted. It was a nice feeling.
Okay. If you can remember, what was your first day like at the Dollar Theater?
My first day, I actually do remember it.
Now, as an employee, not a janitor. So,
As an employee?
As an employee.
I was very nervous. My first day as an assistant, because that was pretty much the first day there. I was nervous at first, thinking like, I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to do this. I'm not really comfortable in a position of telling people what to do, per se.
Right.
But more just in that awkwardness of getting to know everybody, trying to remember names, and like gauging their personalities to see like what is acceptable with what and what wasn't.
Right. Okay. When you first got the job, I know you said you were nervous, but did you like it right away, or were you like, I don't know if this is for me?
Unfortunately, I have one of those people that I'm like, I always second guess myself in the beginning, like ensuring like, is this really what I want to do? Is this really what I want? And after a while, I just kind of have to give it that time to settle in and then make those assessment.
Right, and then you started enjoying it. Or kind of.
We'll say we'll enjoy. Yeah, we'll go with that.
Okay.
We'll go with that.
How long did you work for the Maxi Saver before it closed?
Well, I worked there prior to my long tenure for about a year. So I would say total about 15 years.
Just at the Maxi?
Yeah.
Okay. I know you seem like you did a little bit of everything, but what kind of job or jobs did you do there? Like almost everything that you did.
Well, I was the first assistant manager, basically the second in command.
Right.
Anything that really needed to be done.
Right.
Like making sure staff was organized, stock was organized, the building wasn't falling apart. But basically trying to make sure that we had a great service and a great thing to give our customers to make sure that they were happy and satisfied with their purchases.
Okay. Now, did you ever actually work upstairs with the projectors? If you did, tell us a little bit about
Extensively.
it. Okay.
Unfortunately, that was a period that I absolutely had good days and bad days, because it was aggravating not having digital while everyone else around did. But it was the time that I would say that I was most comfortable there, because I didn't have to really associate with anyone if I didn't want to.
Yeah.
And I usually just kind of stayed upstairs and kept to myself, made sure that the movie started on time, did walkthroughs, which basically patrolling the booth to make sure that there was no problems with any projectors, any sound systems, or anything like that. Just basically making sure that the picture was on the screen, it was clear, and there was sound. But it was a very peaceful time because basically you just have the sound of the projectors to keep you company. So I take a book up there and read.
What was your favorite thing or things about working at the movie theater?
Getting to know the employees, I think, is about my favorite thing. It's pretty much what kept me there.
Okay.
I had worked with two other managers who were absolutely like family to me, and staff leaders who were like family to me, case in point. And some of my best friends and closest friends came from working at the Maxi Saver, and I think that was the camaraderie and the family-like atmosphere, which is what I think helped sell our building and our movie theater to other people and made them want to come so much.
Every employee seems like they always have a customer story or even more than one story. Do you have any stories, and what would they be?
How long is this documentary?
As long as you want it to be.
There's a lot of them, but too many to really recall, honestly.
Okay. Is it like a particular, at least one, even if it's a short one, or?
Well, I want to keep this clean, so I'm not going to say. But I have one where we had a lovely lady come in a couple times, and her car wouldn't start. This is the one I usually use when I'm giving an interview or something. And unfortunately, she was not from our area, and she was from 20 miles north of Pittsburgh or something like that. And it was a radiator hose. And fortunately, I had just fixed it on my car, so I was able to, me and the other assistant went out and fixed her car for her in the parking lot at night so she could get home, and then we had her call us when she got home to make sure she got home safely.
Okay. And that was awfully nice. Definitely.
Right.
Like you said, kind of family.
Family atmosphere,
helping out the best we
absolutely.
can. Okay. Since the Maxi Saver has actually closed, what's been going on with you with jobs, life, relationships?
Relationships, oh well, that's a documentary for another time. Job-wise, I'm still continuing in the movie exhibition industry, but in another location, in a different county actually, pretty much close to Maryland.
Okay.
Life, just have finally taken control of it and tried to get a more positive outlook. I think I took that away from the whole experience at the Maxi Saver was, no matter how bleak things are going to look, there's always hope, and you've got to cling on to that and just kind of build from there.
Okay. How much do you miss the movie theater since it closed?
A lot. I won't lie. I think the most of it was like what you previously discussed about the family atmosphere. I miss my family.
Right.
And it's just, you create bonds there. I mean, I watched kids go through high school and go through college and get married and have kids of their own, and it's not something that you can easily get rid of.
Right. If the theater hypothetically ever actually opened again, would you ever think about ever going back as a worker? Or?
In a minute.
Okay.
In a minute. Yeah, because I would like to have my family back.
Okay. In no more than 2 words, could you describe the Maxi Saver?
Family oriented.
Okay, well, before we depart, do you have any last words about the Maxi Saver? Anything good, anything bad about it?
People always said that it was a rundown theater, and it was dated, and it needed a lot of improvements, which was true. But there's one thing that we always said, and the other manager, the head manager, which I'll say her name, Rose, always said is that even if it's not the first class accommodations, you can still give the first class service. And we, I think, emphatically did that.